Thank you everyone for coming. This event this afternoon is being presented by the SJSU Special Library Association Student Chapter, or otherwise known as SLASC for short. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Tina Kremsner-Sheng, and I'm the Programming Director of SLASC. I want to give a huge thank you to my programming team, April Pantel and Rebecca Kamathi, and the greater SLASC teams for helping make this event possible. We are so excited to kick off our 2021 fall semester with Dr. Michael Stevens, an SJSU iSchool professor. His teaching on information communities, evolving library service, and reflective practice for librarians has garnered awards for delivery and engagement in the online environment. Dr. Stevens has delivered keynotes, papers, and workshops throughout the US and internationally. We're honored that he can join us today to discuss one of his most recent publications on finding joy again as we return to our libraries and cultural institutions in the post-pandemic world. If you have any questions, please type them into the chat, and time permitting, we will have a Q&A session at the end of this presentation. We will also be sharing a brief survey link that we hope you will take at the end. And now, let's joyfully welcome Dr. Michael Stevens. Thank you so much.
Yay, that's so cool. Let me ask the organizers, I will not see the chat while I'm talking. So maybe capture the questions or just copy them or note them, just because I don't want to miss any. And then when we do some interactive bits, I'll get out of the slides and we'll be able to, so I can see them too.
Okay, sounds good.
So,
and we'll also save the chat.
And please do, because I would be very interested if everybody's cool with that and seeing some of your answers.
Yes,
because I'm learning from you all. Just that's what we do here, is we learn from each other.
Exactly. Thank you. And then if everyone can turn off their videos so that we can save some bandwidth. If you can also mute yourself. Okay. Thank you. Take it away.
Okay, thank you. And thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so happy to be able to talk with you all today and just kind of keep connections going, because I'm still kind of in the mindset of I'm not out very much in the world. I mask up and all those things, which we will hit on in just a moment. So welcome everybody. I'm going to go through some things, but we're also going to have some opportunity for you all to share in the chat, which I am excited about. Okay, what are we doing here? There we go. Let me make sure this is there. Okay, so welcome. I want to say just a couple of things about this presentation. And this was more of a presentation than a publication, but it was selected for an international conference back in June. And my co-presenter was Stacy Ledden, who's one of the librarians at Anythink Libraries, and she is absolutely amazing. And I actually left her name on these slides because she brought so much of her mindset and her focus on joy. So that's why you'll see her name here. And I think I'm having a little trouble. Okay, there it is. Okay. Yep. Okay. Well, there's a lot of folks still coming in. Okay, so we'll take a breath. Let's take a breath and let's talk about joy. And to do that, to start, we're going to break the ice, if you will. So what Stacy and I did, and I actually left us in there, what has brought us joy during the pandemic? I will tell you, and then I want to ask you all. It has been, and who knew, it has been babysitting a 3-year-old since June of 2020, at least once a week. And this summer, it's been twice a week. Good friends of ours up the road run an organic farm. They needed help. They desperately needed help in the pandemic. And I wasn't teaching last summer, and I thought, I don't know anything about childcare, but I will give it a try. So we spend time together, we play games, we do puzzles, and we read books. So what has brought me joy during the pandemic? A little guy named Atticus and his view of the world, where he is just like, let's go, let's run. But also, I'm a librarian, but I have discovered the wonderful everything of children's literature. So there we are. I think we're doing a puzzle there, but I'm okay. This is going to be a little commercial. I grabbed these off my shelf. If you're doing anything with children's literature, and I know this is special libraries, but you never know, you never know. Peter Reynolds and Susan Verdi have some wonderful books, and they all absolutely fit what we're talking about. Here is I Am Human, and this one is about empathy. I Am Peace, and this is about mindfulness. Who knew you were going to get a book talk today? I Am Love, a book of compassion. You know, these could be our guide, actually, for this work we're doing here today. And brand new, just released, I Am Courage, a book of resilience. So these are my copies too. So don't be shy. If you are interested, grab them out of the library or maybe pick up a couple. I'm keeping these on hand. So if he ever comes over here, we have something to read. So long story there. So please put in the chat, what is one thing that has brought you joy during the pandemic? And I'm going to stop my share so I can see this as well. Focusing on me, absolutely. Baking and biking. Rescuing cats, yay. Okay, and now it is going so fast. Extra time with teenage daughter. Yes, and that has been kind of a nice thing to get to be home. I saw a 2-year-old spending time with my chicken, Sarah, yay. I got to say, I recognize a lot of names here today as well. So it's so nice of folks that have been in class with me to be here. This is great. Okay, a lot of sharing. I think it's going to go so fast, I'm not going to be able to keep up with it. So I'm going to go back into the share and let's talk about the power of joy. Okay, so joy is that thing that makes us feel good. And here's Buddy, he's right over there. He's sleeping and hopefully he'll sleep through the talk today. He rolls with wild abandon in the snow or on the just the grass. So joy can be so many things. It can be a sense of peace, it can be happiness, and it can run a wide continuum of different feelings. So once again, please share in the chat. How do you there define joy? And I'm going to get out of the chat again because I am interested. How do you define joy? Jacqueline says, feeling present and loving the moment I'm in. There's a big vote for mindfulness, and being in that moment. I try to do that myself. And to be super honest, because I guess we can do that here. I have busy brain sometimes, like anxiety brain, like running. So if you can find a way to be in the moment, I'm going to go back to Atticus for a second. There's no time to be anxious when you're caring for a little person or a dog or a cat or whatever you might be doing, like exercise or a hobby. There's no time to worry about things like that. So that is a benefit I have had. Being at peace and experiencing happiness as serene. Sophia says being present with anticipating good things. That's lovely. Okay, I'm going to keep us going and keep the answers coming. This is wonderful. Share, here we go. So to bring it back to what we're doing with libraries, let's consider the library as a place and space for joy, for sure. And I believe that can come from learning of all kinds, from a playful attitude, and of course, creativity. Here is a thriving, bustling library with all sorts of cool things happening. Here's another one. This is Gwinnett County Public Library, one of my favorite libraries. And this is the knitting group. Again, people coming together, big Game of Thrones fan there. This is from a few years ago. Winter is coming. So cool. This is on the left side, a thriving public library pre-pandemic, and every public program they were giving that day. From 9:30 a.m. tech workshop all the way to musical masterpieces at 7. Shift over to the other side. Pandemic hits and libraries pivot. And this is one of the first examples I saw. This is Desmond Fish Public Library. Look at this, the library, the reference staff or librarian staff in their homes coming to you via Zoom. Just amazing. And this is the human face of the library. I want to say a couple words about Anythink. This is where Stacy would take over. They did some super cool things once the pandemic hit. They were all sent home, but their focus on user experience and creating happy experiences, etc., did not waver. They launched something called Anythink Everywhere, putting a lot of their resources online or pointing to those resources that were already online. They did, once they were able to get back into the buildings, they did the pickup, they did all those things that you've heard about. And the other thing they did was they called all of their seniors. They called about 8,000 people in their service area. Hi, this is Michael from the library. I'm just checking in to see how you're doing, see if there's anything we can help you with here at the library, etc. That is amazing. I've seen other examples of that as well. And you know, we never taught this to you all, right? We never said, yeah, there's going to come a day you may have to call, your entire staff may have to call 8,000 people because we're all home, because we're afraid to go out, because it's super, super scary out there. It's amazing to me. They slowly brought programming back. They do a very popular thing called Civic Saturday. That used to take place in person. They rolled it onto Zoom, filled up a room just like we have filled up here. And once the libraries reopened, and I know libraries have reopened and now we're kind of in this weird space where we don't know what's going to happen. One of the things they did was they hosted artwork that could not be placed in other places because of the pandemic, but they had a paper mache artist come in, and I think I have another photo of him from Stacy, and put together this amazing art installation so people could come and see it. And then they brought art to outside of the libraries. And this is like twig art or tree art. That's absolutely amazing. And they place these things at various branches. And here is how they engaged with the community as well. Like, hey, come down and help us do this art installation. We're unloading a great big truck full of logs. How cool is that? Okay, so I want to do our first interactive type exercise. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about 3 different areas. And these are all places that I think we could work on programming, services, ideas, outreach, or just stuff for ourselves related to all of these things that would bring our users, our staff, ourselves some joy. So real quick, learning, of course, is that programming option. This is Books and Butchers. If you've had a class with me, probably in 200 and 287, the hyperlinked library, I talk about this because this was such a groundbreaking thing. A library in Kansas brought in 2 butchers who do sustainable farming, and they demonstrated how to take apart whatever that is, a side of something. And they filled the room, and it made the New York Times as, look at this cool thing that libraries are doing. How do we create learning experiences built around joy and curiosity? Here, I'll go to the next one. How do we create how do we create experiences, not necessarily learning experiences, but they could be, but how do we create something maybe around art or something that's immersive or just gets you feeling something instead of maybe learning something? And this is a pride installation at a library that I worked at for 15 years, the St. Joseph County Public Library in South Bend, Indiana. And then the concept of story. And I am fascinated by sharing stories and telling stories and what that can mean for other people, not only to instill joy in folks, but to help them understand how other people may view the world or how they have, how they experience the world, etc. And this is one of my favorite examples. And I apologize, I should have had a good PDF ready to go for this, but when we get done, I will send the folks that organize this a link to these slides. So please don't feel you have to write everything down. This is this man's story. He is a stay-at-home father of 6 children, and 2 of them have some special needs, and he finds the library invaluable, and he loves what they offer him and the kids. So what I would say, before we dive into this, what I would say, and I saw a question go by before we started from Angela, who said, one of the things she would like to learn is, how do I reset my mindset for coming out of the pandemic? And how do I get it to come back to what we are doing? So I have some thoughts on that. And I think that's a really great question. And I think that's something that I'm dealing with myself, even though we were disrupted. My classes in the spring of 2020, fall of 2020, spring of 2021 were disrupted because it was just so awful all the time. How do we come back from that? The first thing I would say is use your heart to make decisions and keep the heart at the center of what you might be doing. Like the father we saw, that how can we help the people that are coming back to us? How can we help them feel that joy or feel inspiration or learn something valuable, maybe something that he can use with his kids going forward? And the next thing would be to think about that concept of hygge. I hope I said that correctly. It is a Danish concept of feeling a part of a community, being comfortable, feeling just warm and cozy. It really works well in the wintertime, but I think it could happen all the times. One of the things that Anythink did was they designed their new libraries with this in mind, that they are warm, inviting, welcoming spaces. So that is something we could think about too. What can we do to welcome people in and inspire joy? Just the joy of coming into a place that says, all of you are welcome here. And then the next thing is to be kind. And again, back to Angela's question, I really think if we approach everything with the idea of kindness, and that kindness wins in the long run, it will help us navigate what this next part of this time in our world looks like. And if you go too far into angry Karen videos and what's the male counterpart, Ken, angry Ken videos, and all the just horrible stuff going on, what I am seeing is people that have lost touch with the heart and kindness or whatever. And I hope that isn't soapboxing, but I really believe it. So think about approaching everything you can with kindness, compassion, mindfulness, and one more time, empathy. And maybe we can't put ourselves in angry person across the service desk's place, but maybe we should try as hard as we possibly can. And I absolutely love that some libraries, and I know Anythink did, Gwinnett County did food distribution. This just happens to be a little free library that instead of books is giving out food, because people were hungry during, and still are during the pandemic. Think about how we might care for the whole person, not just books, cool learning programs, and access to the internet, but maybe it is something, I don't have a slide, like the community closet at the big library in Lansing, Michigan. And I'm coming to you all from Northern Michigan today. That they have personal care items in this closet. You can go in, take what you need and leave. It's not like a big deal. Maybe you need a bar of soap, maybe you need a toothbrush, maybe you need something to eat. It's there for you. It's not high pressure, and they are helping people. And then this, and I love this. And if you ever get a chance to be part of talking about your library's mission statement or doing your own mission statement as a soon-to-be information professional, this is, it's Alameda County Public Library, yay for them. Their mission statement is kind, connected humans. And what they did during the pandemic is they let people schedule appointments for 20-minute one-on-one conversations with a library staff member. Maybe some of you did Zoom happy hours. I had my little pod of friends, my good friends here in Northern Michigan. We did Zoom happy hours every Saturday night for months, from the spring. In the summer, we moved them like to people's backyards, sitting far away, you know, all those things we did. This is kind of a take on that, where you get some interaction, some conversation, and they actually gave sample topics. So, and what I think we might do here is we're going to do this exercise for learning, experience, and story. And I may just get out of the slides because it's just giant slides that say learning, experience, and story. So I think we'll do that. So pull this in. What types of joyous experiences can we provide to our communities? And please feel free to share, and you don't have to. Please know that this is a safe place. Blue sky it, have big thoughts. You don't need to worry about your ideas. And if you want, write some things down. I think we're going to grab the chat. So just maybe let it all wash in and wash by you. So I'll show you the first one. Looks just like this. We got our wise old owl here. I'm going to stop the share. Escape, come back to you all. So, okay. Think about learning. I can look at you all now. Think about learning. What type of joyous learning experiences might we create in your setting, public library, academic library, special library, yay, any setting you might be, school library. Please throw it into the chat. We'll take just a few minutes here. This is going to be probably lightning round style, but hopefully I can capture a couple as they go by. Learning experiences. Think about Book and Butchers. Yay, book club. Learning how to cook healthy meals with your family. Samaya, if I said that right, I apologize if I didn't. I love the idea of libraries doing culinary literacy programs and anything related to food. And there was actually talk about our Zoom happy hour that we might cook a meal together. We never got that far to do that, but we certainly taste tested some wine and had snacks while we enjoyed happy hour. Oh, wow, they are flying by. Game night. Meditation. That is a really good one. Learning to meditate. There it is again, like learning that skill, like coming to the library or coming in via Zoom and doing that type of like a mindful practice. If anybody has an Apple Watch and does Apple Fitness Plus on your TV or your device, mindful cool downs are the coolest. These really cool trainers kind of talk you through breathing and things like that. I think that we could lift that right out of Apple Fitness Plus and do it at the library and do it on Zoom and read bedtime stories for toddlers. How cool would that be? Absolutely. So we'll just let the sharing go on a little bit more. I want to see a couple more. Night at the library sleepovers. That is an excellent idea. I think that would work super well once we're all comfortable getting back in to places. Oh, neat. Play games, treasure hunts, VR games. Yeah, that balance between high tech and low tech and everything in between. All of those things can instill joy. Read to the children over the phone. You know, okay, and I love that idea because, you know, we can also do that like this and we can do YouTube recordings and everything. But what I've learned from the little guy I spend time with is he likes the phone. He likes like his fake phone that he has. He's like, hello, what's going on? But to get to call the library and hear a voice read a story, that's so cool. Learning to adapt quickly to working telecommute, going back into work in an empty library, and now seeing library patrons coming back into the library and connecting with each other. Sophia and Helen, those are good things, absolutely. Yeah, can we get a copy of the chat, Dr. Stevens? Yes, organizers, we can get a copy of the chat, right?
Yes, we will be saving it and
Okay.
sharing it after.
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know if there's some way we can kind of do something to it, because it might be kind of really interesting to share as well.
Right, yeah.
I love
Hopefully
this.
there's
This
like
is
a
so cool.
mind map or something we
Yeah,
can do.
yeah, any type
Okay.
of creative thing.
Okay, cool.
Let's think about learning for one more second before we go on, and let's narrow in for ourselves. What might we want to learn about that would help us be joyful as we move back into the world, whatever that means for you all? And it might be some of the same things that have gone by. For me, it would be like more focus on meditation and yoga and things like that, to kind of be more mindful. Sophia says commuting by bike. Getting outdoors, absolutely. Self-care, I cannot say enough about self-care. One of the things I did, especially last year, I would just say at like 6 o'clock at night, my time, I'm in Eastern, self-care the rest of the night. I'm gonna go downstairs and binge blank on Netflix or whatever. And let the world turn a little bit without me worrying about email or whatever. And I hope I didn't keep anybody waiting on an email if I did that. Okay, all right, let's go on. I'm not going to go to the next one, but the next one, very similar to learning, but let's broaden out a bit. Maybe this involves art or creativity or something like that. Let's talk about experience. So we've done all sorts of things with learning. You might call into the library and hear a story, which to me very much is learning. Or there might be so many things we do, but let's talk a bit about experience. What might that look like offering an experience? Sky, virtual traveling, absolutely. Student artwork, garden tours, sidewalk chalk stations, yes. And think about that. What a great, super easy program. Throw out some chalk, maybe write a question like, what's been your favorite something? Or what's the best book you read last month? Being part of a procession wearing paper mache masks in celebration of something. I love it. Live streaming, zoo, aquarium, art, yeah, absolutely. Virtual college tours. Okay, and if anybody's coming to us from the academic thing, I think that'd be super interesting. I did not realize this, but like some of the young people I know that are in their freshman year now, they did all of their orientation on Zoom. And I hope the library, the academic library at Michigan State and University of Michigan were involved with those young people. Distributed whisper trail and put recorded book readings outside available. Oh, neat. A distributed whisper trail. I have never heard that phrase before. I like that. Concerts, yes. Anything actually hosted a concert this summer, and it was wonderful. People were apart and the wind was blowing, but the little kids were dancing. Absolutely. Reading walk for kids, yay. Oh, neat. Hydrophobic paint or spray to reveal messages or art on pavement or sidewalks. Oh, okay, Cian, visually impaired students created this amazing immersive experience where they created a walk through the darkness, and it taught our students a little about what it feels like to be blind or visually impaired. That is amazing. And that also aligns with our next one, which is the power of story and learning what it might be to walk in someone else's shoes. Wow, I really, really appreciate that. Escape room was, yeah, it was like an escape room with sound effects. Absolutely. So cool. Okay, let's throw the third one in, and then we'll just open it up to whatever other ideas, maybe a mashup of all three. But the third is story. And I see that Laura just put in the human library. I actually believe the human library fits so well into learning, experience, and story that I wish every library could do a human library for their users. And for the room, just so everybody knows, that is where you check out a person who has a different lived experience than you. And you get to talk to them and maybe ask them questions. And it could be the gamut of ethnic diversity, all the different types of diversity, race, religion, everything. It might be refugees coming to us from Afghanistan or wherever. It might be someone who had COVID and survived. It might be someone who lost someone to COVID. And it might even be sitting down with someone that does not think they should be vaccinated. Might be really interesting to actually talk to them instead of maybe just seeing all the videos that go by on the news. Oh, this is emotional stuff, isn't it? It kind of wears me out a little bit. Are you all okay? Oh, I love the thumbs up. Thank you. Thank you. So a little bit more about story, and I was talking a lot. I don't want to miss anything. Firsthand stories of unhoused people in the community, yes. And if your library is gathering COVID stories or pandemic stories, that's exactly what we're talking about. Collaboration with local museums on cultural oral histories, absolutely. And that's another thing, maybe you can't do a human library in person, but you could get all of those folks, there he is, somebody's wanting his dinner. You could get those folks to maybe record a bit of their story and share it. A story booth to create community story archive. Puppy, yes, who's hungry? Who's a hungry guy? A collaboration with visiting artists, we saw that earlier, and I can't say enough about artists in residence in libraries, or some type of creative space where artists might come in and work, where you might just get to watch somebody make art. Natalie, that is an excellent suggestion. Being educated on mental illness, again, the power of story there for somebody to share their mental health journey, if you will. I mentioned anxiety early on in this. If there's one thing I've learned in the pandemic, if not before, is we should talk a bit about how we feel. And I and you all should not be shy about saying, yeah, I experience anxiety at times. I think that's a great way to take care of yourself too, by putting it out there in a place where you feel safe. Teaching American Sign Language helps with communication, absolutely. Street theater, filmmakers, yes, coming to make stories, and working with students. Oh, that's so interesting. Editing booth for creative writers, to have reader feedback. Oh, that's incredible. Flash fiction. Leo, thank you. Leo's in Info 200, yay. Sweet. Okay, let's broaden it out. Anything like that kind of fits all three, or any thoughts about that? Good boy. I like that. Susan, teaching how media bias works. Yes, 2 new moms connected last week. This is about making connections with grown-ups. What's your favorite local bakery after we sing patty cake? Oh, Laura, that's beautiful. Maybe with kids who do not want to dance, writing the narration, absolutely. And you know, we should all be able to dance like we're 3, 5, 6 years old. And yeah. All right, I know. Cultural talks over Zoom to gain stories from people in other countries or states. Absolutely. I think it would be fascinating, like to tune in with a New Zealander or somebody in Australia or some other part of the world and what they have dealt with. Learning to dance like everyone may be watching, and that is okay. I'm going through a big Bee Gees stage right now. I don't know why, but I actually watched the Bee Gees documentary. It was fascinating. And hey, maybe it's time to roll out the Staying Alive and all of that and let people dance at the library, do a silent disco, do a Zoom disco. So fun. Dance it out. Absolutely. Okay. The last little bit I have a beautiful slide that says questions and comments. I kind of think we're ready to kind of move into that space. And so let's switch gears, and maybe if there have been questions during the talk that some of the organizers may have captured, if we want to do a couple of those, that might be very useful.
Great. Thank you so much. Rebecca, did we get any questions?
Hi, everyone. Right now, I believe we're all super, super engaged in Dr. Stevens' amazing webinar. So now is the time to ask questions. Please let us know in the chat box right here. Everyone was just really getting into answering and amazing ideas, honestly, as reading each one going along as well. But please don't be shy. Take the time. And he's with us live. You know, that's the best part too. You get your answers right here, right now. All right, we'll just give everyone a couple minutes here.
Yeah. Teach one dance via Zoom so that we all get together. We all know a dance. I love that. There's that one that's they go like this. It's all on the reels on the Insta and they jump. I like it. I watch it. I don't know if I could do it.
You want to show us a little bit, Dr. Stevens? We'd love to see
No, I
some of
don't
your
think
moves.
I will. I just give you that one.
No worries.
Okay, Melanie says, I think continuing to include online options is a great idea. I wonder what others think. I agree with that. I think we should have multiple channels because there may be folks that are not venturing out for whatever reason, or it is easier for them to tune in on Zoom. I like that, Melanie, thank you. Okay, guidance from Ellen. Ellen would like guidance on how to introduce some of these amazing ideas to a library that might be a little bit set in its ways. Oh, okay, Ellen, if you're working at this library and you have an opportunity to share things from the program, or you could say, hey, I went to a really cool webinar with one of my professors and everybody shared ways to bring back joy as libraries get more and more into the reopening stage. And I don't want to say get back to normal because I don't know what that's going to look like. Maybe share some of those things, maybe highlight the ones that really inspired you. And maybe some of the discussion about, yes, there should be some online, there should be some streams online that you can participate in just as you might in person. Another one of my favorite examples is a librarian who's a good friend of mine back at St. Joe County. His name is Joe. He did a Facebook live chat every Saturday night called Saturday Night Stories, where he read like Poe or poetry or weird fiction. And it's so interesting to me. Okay, Susan said, I had a conversation with one of my classmates. She was wondering how, as a librarian, she can recover from some unsettling interactions with a library patron who had different ideas of fairness, equality, and privilege. Okay, in my mind, a couple things. That goes back to self-care. We got to take care of ourselves. We got to remember that it's not us, that the person may be mad at the world right now, and find that core group of folks like Susan, one of your classmates, maybe you talk with her, find that core group. And if you're working in libraries, it's the people you trust and you feel comfortable with, or it's your pod coming out of the pandemic, or it's your good friend, and say, this happened to me, I feel weird about it, and I want to make sense about it. Because I think every time we tell our story and people hear it and understand it, it gets a little easier. And I caught this thing go by on Facebook a couple days ago. A man said, as a boy, he went to school. His father had found out he had put on a dress or something, and he went to school the next day with a big bruise right here. And the teacher said, something has happened to you and I have to report it. And he said, please, please don't. I will get in so much trouble. And he said the authorities got involved and they had to go before a judge, and it was awful. And the thing that happened at the very end was his mother said, why did you have to air our dirty laundry? And he said, and he looked right in the camera. And again, there's so much power in that. He said to everyone, and that's LGBTQ beyond, and that's every person of every whatever, be nice to them, be kind, and be nice. And that really resonated. Wow, I got off track a little bit with that, but it's been on my mind of late. So yeah, so if something bad happens to you, talk about it. Talk about it with your trusted friends. Do a little video and share it with your close circle and say, this happened to me and I feel upset. Wow, okay. I hope we never return to normal. I agree. I hope a lot of things do not go back to the way they were. How do we get people to open up to talk about feeling anxious or depressed, or with patrons who are upset about vaccinators or non-vaccinators? That is really interesting. A few things. Talk about it yourself. If you feel anxious, I think it is entirely okay to say, I feel anxious, or I'm dealing with depression, or whatever. Talk with your colleagues about how you will handle the folks that come in that are upset. There's a thing that happens in libraries that troubles me, and that's where they bring in like the security officer or the policeman to talk about how to handle problems. That I would rather something else happen, like the social worker comes in, or the person that understands de-escalation more than like calling the police on somebody or whatever, except when things get out of control. There's so much here. Right, we never know, this is Cian again, I hope I'm saying that right, what people are going through, and we don't know what people are going through. Sophia says, have a plan. Absolutely, talk with your coworkers, talk with your classmates even, if just about what kind of plan you will have if you are in your work setting and something weird happens. And it does happen in schools, says Samia. And Eugene has the Cahoots program, and maybe Sophia, throw a link in if you don't mind for Cahoots. That's new to me. Tip for people who don't agree with you, says Natasha, listen. I love this. Say out loud the things you agree, share your logic, but only as it relates to the argument. Rally around solutions. Change lanes to avoid road. There's some good stuff there. Wonderful. Sophia, thank you for that link. Crisis assistance, helping out on the streets. Absolutely. That's the kind of thing I would like to see more and more of coming into libraries, and libraries partnering with social workers or social service agencies where we are taking care of the whole person. A short list of escape phrases. What we can agree about is this, and I need to take a break for a minute now. That's lovely. That is a good thing to be able to say. Leo, thank you for that. Okay, maybe some last questions or thoughts, and I'm going to throw one more thing in, and this can be like super short. What is one idea or little nugget of an idea that you are going to take away with from this chat? And I might have missed some private messages from some folks. I apologize if I did. What is an idea or nugget of an idea that you might take away? Nice. Recess time programming. Spend time with toddlers. Yes. Read books. Yeah. I can't say enough about service to others. That is the thing that has helped me through the pandemic. Service with Atticus and our friends, service to our pod, service in any way that I could, if that was like ordering a gift certificate from one of the Traverse City restaurants that were closed or things like that, whatever I could do, even, not just spending money, but anything to help. And to be out in the world and smiling underneath your mask. And I realized, this was months ago when I was almost afraid to be out at Costco. I wore latex gloves, is that weird? And a mask. And I remember locking eyes with a woman and I said, I am smiling at you under this mask. And she said, I can tell. And she said, thank you. I said, thank you. Teach kindness, mindfulness, empathy, and love to yourself and to your loved ones. Absolutely. Oh, and Anjali and Anjali, thank you. Thank you for wearing your gloves. I felt better about it. Model compassion and model empathy. Absolutely. Be the thing you want to see in the world and know you cannot change everyone's mind, but you might make a little bit of a difference to someone else who needs it. Think of the whole person when planning, responding, and doing. Oh, they're so good. Yeah. I am human. There's one. So cool. And they're just like, I can be fearful of things I don't yet understand and timid to try something new there. See, and this is for you all too. Try something new. Absolutely. We need to be able to do that, especially in our field, because there's always going to be something new. Nice. Leo, thank you for that. Good to focus, story, compassion, courage, empathy, mindfulness. It does feel good. Yeah. Okay. I got to tell you, I'm worn out. Any last thoughts? I so appreciate the SLA student chapter for giving me the honor to get to talk to you all today. To get to talk to so many of you and hear your ideas for bringing back joy. Thank you. Do not hesitate to reach out to me. You can contact me through the School of Information or my face, that thing where it sends me a contact, or my email address is mstevens7@mac.com. There are two Michael Stevenses on campus, and the other one gets a lot of my mail. So use the mac.com. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Stevens. This is wonderful and it can be very emotional, but it's good that we can learn these lessons to be applicable outside of libraries, inside of libraries. This is really wonderful. Thank you.